Liam sat on the edge of a broken metal crate, his face tired and dusty. The red sun of planet Allura hung low in the sky, painting the desert sand with orange light. His ship had crashed 2 days ago during the storm. No signal, no help, no way to leave. All he had left was a half-empty water bottle and 1 chocolate bar. The last piece of home. He held the wrapper in his hand, looking at it for a long time. Chocolate was rare out here, sweet, soft, and warm in a place where everything was hard and cold. He sighed and unwrapped it slowly, breaking off a small piece. Just as he was about to eat, he heard a sound, a soft shuffle like feet dragging in the sand. He stood up quickly, eyes scanning the dunes. That's when he saw her. A girl stood a few meters away. Alien, no doubt. Her skin was pale blue, her clothes torn and dusty. She looked small. Maybe his age or younger. Her black eyes were wide with fear or hunger. She didn't speak, just stared at the chocolate in his hand. Liam didn't know what to do. She looked weak, maybe even sick. Was she lost? Was she dangerous? But something in her eyes made him pause. She wasn't attacking, she wasn't begging, she was just waiting. He broke off the bigger half of the bar and held it out. "Here," he said quietly. "You need it more than me." She blinked, slowly walked forward, her bare feet silent in the sand. She reached out and touched his hand as she took the chocolate. The moment their skin touched, Liam felt a sharp spark, like static electricity, but stronger. It made his hand tingle, and for a second, the air around them shimmered. The girl flinched slightly but didn't let go. Then, just as silently, she stepped back and sat down on the sand. She ate the chocolate slowly, piece by piece, like it was the most important thing in the universe. Liam sat back down on the crate, watching her. "Don't talk much, do you?" he said with a small smile. She looked at him but said nothing, just nodded once. The sun dropped lower, and night crept over the desert. Cold winds began to blow. Liam built a small fire using broken wood from the ship's wreckage. The girl sat near him, never too close, never too far. He gave her his water, and she drank carefully, like she'd done it 1,000 times before, but always afraid it might run out. He decided to give her a name. "Star," he said, pointing to the sky. "That's what I'll call you." She looked up, eyes glowing in the dark, and nodded again. That night, Liam fell asleep beside the fire. Star sat quietly, watching the stars, not moving at all, not even blinking. Far away, in the shadows of the rocks, a machine clicked and beeped. A small spy drone had recorded the entire moment. The chocolate bar, the touch, the energy spark. It zipped away silently into the dark sky, flying back to someone who had been waiting for this signal for a long time. The next morning, Liam woke up to find Star already awake, standing. Her eyes locked on something in the distance, smoke. Not from his fire, this was from somewhere else. Someone or something had broken into an old military outpost nearby. It had been sealed for years, full of ancient weapons and secrets. Liam looked at Star, who just stared at the smoke. No fear, no surprise, just knowing, like she had expected this. He felt a cold chill down his spine. Who was this girl? Why did she appear just as his world fell apart? And why did everything around her feel like it was waking up? He didn't know it yet, but the moment he shared that chocolate, he had changed the future of an entire galaxy. Liam woke up before the sun rose. The desert still cold and silent. Star was already awake, standing like a statue, her eyes fixed on the horizon. She hadn't moved all night, not even to sleep. Liam stretched his sore back and tried to joke. "You ever sleep?" She didn't answer, just turned to look at him with those dark, glowing eyes. Something about her was different today, but he couldn't say what. They walked together toward the old town, a ghost place near the edge of the desert. Nothing lived there anymore, only sand and broken machines. But Star kept walking like she knew exactly where to go. She stopped near an old power terminal and touched it gently. The dead screen lit up, colors flickering across the dust-covered glass. Liam stared, his mouth open. "That's been dead for years." Star stepped back and let the screen finish its work. The machine started scanning her face, then showed a message in alien text. Liam couldn't read it, but he recognized one symbol. It was the same shape she had drawn in the sand the day before. He pulled out his notebook and showed it to her. "This one," he said, pointing. She nodded, slowly. Then she did something strange. She placed her hand on his notebook, and the page started to glow. The symbols moved across the paper like they were alive, shifting into shapes Liam could understand. It formed a word, clear and simple. Watcher, Liam. Stepped back, chills running down his arms. "What are you?" he whispered. Star looked up at him with a soft, sad expression, but still said nothing. She turned away and began walking again. Her steps quick now. Liam followed, feeling like he was walking deeper into a secret too big to understand. They reached the edge of the town, near a broken statue of some forgotten hero. That's when they saw it, movement in the shadows. A man in dark armor was standing near the wreckage of a drone, holding something in his hand. He turned when he saw them. His face was half covered by a metal mask, and his voice was deep, rough, and full of warning. "You shouldn't be here, human," he said. "That girl is marked." Liam stood in front of Star, even though he was shaking inside. "Who are you?" he asked. "What do you want from her?" The man didn't answer. Instead, he threw something on the ground. It was a photo, blurry, but clear enough. It showed Star standing alone in a glass chamber, wires all around her. Her eyes were closed in the photo, and strange machines floated around her head. Liam looked at the picture, then at Star. "You know this place?" he asked her. She didn't move, but Liam could see her hands trembling. The man took a step closer. "She's not poor," he said coldly. "She's not lost, and she's not weak. She's a key, and everyone in the galaxy wants to turn her." Liam didn't know what that meant, but he knew one thing. Star didn't trust this man. He grabbed her hand and ran, pulling her through broken buildings and down empty streets. They heard the man's voice behind them, calling out, "You can't protect her, human, not from what's coming." They didn't stop until they reached the hills again. Breathing hard, Liam turned to Star. "What does he mean, you're a key?" For the first time, Star reached up and touched her throat. She opened her mouth like she wanted to speak, but no sound came out. Then, slowly, she pressed her palm to the sand. Symbols appeared beneath her hand, glowing like fire. Liam bent down to look. One of the symbols was shaped like a door, the other like an eye. A message formed in the sand. Locked voice, broken world, hidden truth. Liam whispered, "You can't talk, but you're trying to tell me something." She nodded, and this time a tear slid down her cheek. Liam reached out and wiped it away gently. "I don't know who you are," he said, "but I'm not leaving you." That night, far above the planet, a satellite blinked to life. It sent out a message to a hidden ship waiting in the dark. Target found, Phase 1 complete. And deep underground, something old began to stir. The wind was harsh the next morning, blowing hot sand across the rocks. Liam and Star had found a small cave hidden in the cliffs, a quiet place to rest, but Liam couldn't sleep. The man with the metal mask, the strange photo, the glowing symbols, everything felt wrong, like the whole planet was whispering secrets behind his back. Star sat near the cave entrance, her eyes fixed on the desert. She hadn't spoken, but Liam could feel her thoughts pressing against the silence. She was worried, and so was he. He took out the notebook and stared at the moving symbols she had created. They had stopped glowing, but he could still feel something strange in the paper, like it was alive. Then he remembered the symbols she drew in the sand the night before. One had looked like a door, and the other like an eye. Liam stood up and walked out into the open sand. He knelt down and copied the symbols into the dirt with his finger. As soon as he finished, the ground beneath him started to shake. A sharp line of light appeared under the sand, forming a perfect circle. Star rushed forward and grabbed his arm, trying to pull him back. But it was too late. The sand fell inward like a trapdoor, and they dropped down into darkness. They landed hard but safe, sliding onto a smooth metal floor. Liam groaned and looked around. It wasn't just a hole, it was a chamber, hidden deep underground. Blue lights flickered too. Life along the walls, revealing carvings, thousands of them. They showed figures with eyes like stars, holding strange tools and raising their hands toward machines. And in the center of the wall was a large symbol, glowing faintly. It was her, Star. Not just someone who looked like her, but exactly her, same face, same eyes, same clothes. Liam stared in shock. This is you. Star walked up to the wall and touched the glowing carving. A pulse of light ran through the room, and a voice echoed from the walls. Not hers, but ancient and female. If she awakens, the past will rise, the key will turn, and silence will break. Liam turned to Star, his voice shaking. What are you? Star looked at him with wide, almost scared eyes, and slowly reached for his hand. When they touched, the lights grew brighter, and the carvings began to move, images dancing across the walls like memory. He saw war, fire, machines falling from the sky. He saw people like Star, quiet, glowing, powerful, being hunted, caged, erased. And then he saw one escape, hidden in a small pod, drifting through the stars, frozen in time, waiting. That one was her. Liam pulled his hand back, gasping. You're not just a girl, he said. You're part of something big, something lost. Star nodded once, then pointed toward a door that had opened at the back of the chamber. Together, they stepped through, walking down a narrow hallway filled with lights and humming machines. A console lit up as they passed, showing a map of the planet and symbols flashing red. Liam didn't understand it all, but one word appeared in English, bold and clear. Awakened. Something had changed, and not just underground. The world above them had noticed. As they climbed back up through another passage, far away in the sky, several ships began to descend through the clouds, sleek, dark, and silent, each one marked with a symbol that matched the carvings in the ruins. And inside one of those ships, a voice whispered through the comms, "The signal has been found. The lost one lives. Prepare for capture." Back on the surface, Liam and Star stood on a hill, staring at the dust clouds rising in the distance. Liam's heart pounded. They weren't just running anymore. They were being hunted. And whatever Star was hiding inside her, the galaxy was ready to kill for it. Asterisk. The wind carried a low, distant hum across the desert. It wasn't natural. It wasn't from the planet. It was coming from the sky. Liam looked up and saw black shapes moving through the clouds, ships, big ones. They weren't here by accident. They were looking for something. No, someone. Star stood beside him, her body tense, her eyes glowing brighter than ever. She wasn't afraid, but something in her face had changed. She was remembering. They ran back toward the cave, but it was already too late. A drone the size of a hawk hovered near the entrance. Scanning the ground, Liam pulled Star down behind a rock. The drone buzzed and then flew away, but not before its eye blinked red. "We have to move," Liam whispered. Star didn't nod this time. She just stood and walked toward the deeper rocks. She knew the way, and Liam followed. Even though everything inside him said they were walking toward danger, they found another path under the rocks, narrow and dark. As they moved forward, the walls around them lit up slowly, like they remembered her touch. The tunnel opened into another chamber, this one older and colder. Metal thrones lined the walls, all empty. In the center was a single chair, sleek, tall, and glowing softly. Star approached it, slowly, like it had once been hers. Liam looked around and spotted more carvings. He moved closer and wiped the dust off one of them. It showed a group of tall figures like Star, but all wearing armor, standing over a galaxy map. One figure in the middle held a strange item, a piece of Earth chocolate. He stared in disbelief. "What is this?" Then he saw the same man from the photo, the one with the mask. He was in the carving too, standing behind the others, but he wasn't wearing a mask in the carving. His face looked kind, proud, and loyal. Liam stepped back, confused. The masked hunter knew Star. He had once served her. Suddenly, a low voice echoed from the chamber walls. It wasn't a recording this time. It was real. "You found her," it said. "And you fed her the key." Liam spun around, heart racing. The masked man stepped from the shadows, alone. His voice was calm, but his eyes burned like cold fire. "I wasn't trying to hurt you," he said. "I was trying to stop this." Star didn't run. She stood between the man and Liam, her hand raised like a shield. The air grew heavy, and tiny sparks danced around her fingers. The man removed his mask slowly, revealing an older face, tired and sad. "I swore to protect her," he said, "until the signal was broken. She's not just a lost girl," he continued, turning to Liam. "She's the last link to a broken throne. Her mind was locked for safety," he explained. "And only one thing could unlock it." Liam blinked. "The chocolate?" The man nodded. "Earth chocolate," he said. "Your species is rare. You mix memory with comfort, sweetness with survival. To us, it's more than food." Liam laughed nervously. "So I gave her candy, and now she's what? A queen?" The man didn't smile. "She's the last daughter of the Star bloodline," he said. "A living key to the old machines, and a threat to the ones who ended her people." Star lowered her hand and turned to Liam. She took a deep breath, and her mouth moved. One word came out, soft and full of weight. "Liam." He stared at her. Stunned, she had spoken. For the first time, she had spoken. The masked man dropped to one knee, head bowed. "It has begun," he said. "And now they will come, above them, in the cold sky." 20 ships opened their launch bays. Columns of fire lit the night as drop pods fell toward the desert. The world had changed. The silence was broken, and war was on its way. Liam had never seen the sky look like that before. Fire rained down from above, not lightning, not weather machines. Drop pods burst through the clouds like metal comets, slamming into the desert with deep thuds. Each one carried something, and none of it was friendly. He stood frozen as the ground shook beneath him. Beside him, Star was silent again, but her silence felt different now, stronger. She had spoken once, and it had cracked something open, not just in her but in the world around them. The man who had once worn the metal mask was now kneeling beside her, eyes closed. He whispered words in a language Liam didn't understand, but the way he said them felt like prayer. Star stepped forward slowly, her bare feet touching the sand, as if she could feel what was coming before it arrived. Far away, a pod burst open and a drone climbed out tall, spider-like metal legs tapping across the rocks. It scanned the air, then turned toward their direction. Liam backed away. "We need to run." But Star didn't move, her eyes locked on the machine. And for the first time, Liam saw what power really looked like. Her body glowed from within, soft at first, then bright like fire wrapped in light. Symbols lit up across her arms, climbing to her shoulders. Then her neck. The drone moved faster, its legs tearing through the ground. It launched a net of energy toward them, meant to trap, to paralyze. But before it reached her, Star lifted one hand. The energy bent mid-air and shattered. The drone stopped moving, as if frozen in time. Then, without touching it, she turned her hand and the drone collapsed into dust. Liam stared with wide eyes, his heart racing. Star had no weapon, no armor, no shield. She was the weapon. Behind them, the ground cracked and opened. Stone broke away to reveal an ancient tunnel system, glowing faintly beneath the sand. Star looked at Liam and finally spoke again. "Run ends now," she said, her voice low but clear. The former hunter stood, still bowing his head. "Your voice has returned, my queen." Liam grabbed her hand, not to protect her anymore, but to follow her. She led them down into the tunnels, where the machines hummed like they were waking up from sleep. As they ran, old lights flickered to life, and the walls showed more of her story images of war, of escape, of betrayal. One image showed a room full of soldiers in black armor, the same kind that had just landed, and at the center of the image was Star Younger, sleeping inside a pot of light. "Why are they hunting you?" Liam asked, breathless. She paused and turned to him. They fear what I remember, she said. They fear what I can do. At the end of the tunnel was a round chamber filled with tall crystal towers. The lights inside them pulsed with color blue. Green, gold, Star touched one tower, and a voice filled the room, not hers, but her past self, recorded long ago. If I forget who I am, the voice said, let kindness wake me. If I fall, let a gift remind me. If I rise, let the stars hear my name. The chamber shifted, the towers lowering slowly into the ground, revealing a platform. On it, strange armor rested light as glass. Shaped like it belonged only to her, Star stepped into it, and the pieces wrapped around her body like they had waited for her. She stood taller now, glowing brighter, her hair floating as if touched by wind that wasn't there. Liam watched in awe, but a part of him knew this was not the end of their journey. This was the start of something bigger. Behind them, the tunnels roared with the sound of footsteps. The enemy had found their trail. The former hunter stepped in front of them, pulling a blade from his back. I will hold them, he said. You two must reach the core. Star didn't argue. She touched the hunter's shoulder, and something passed between them, maybe power, maybe memory. Then she turned and led Liam deeper, toward a gate that opened only at her voice, and far above the desert, more ships arrived, but they no longer looked like hunters. They looked like armies. Armies preparing for war. Liam opened his eyes and saw light. Not sunlight, but something softer, warmer, almost like a dream. He was floating, weightless, inside a chamber filled with glowing mist. He felt no pain, no fear, just calm, but his heart knew something had changed. He looked down at his chest. There was no wound, but he remembered the blast, the sound, the scream, Star's scream. Everything had gone white, and now he was here. Then he heard her voice, not loud, not sharp. Just there, Liam. He turned, and there she was, Star, fully armored, standing on a platform made of light. But it wasn't just armor anymore. It was alive, moving with her breath, shining with symbols he had never seen before. She was more than just awake, she was fully reborn. He reached out, and this time, she didn't hesitate. Their hands touched, and the light between them pulsed like a heartbeat. The room responded instantly, walls shifting, windows opening to reveal stars, machines, and memories. This place, Star said, her voice steady, is my family's core. It holds the last codes of my people. Liam nodded slowly, still trying to understand. What happened to you? He asked. To them? Star walked to the center of the chamber, where a console rose from the floor. As she touched it, images formed in the air, holograms from a forgotten time, a galaxy in balance, her people watching over the stars, guiding peace through technology. Until greed came, until betrayal, until the ones they trusted turned their weapons against them. The council feared what we could become. She said, so they erased us. I was hidden, she continued. My voice sealed, my power locked away, until you shared something simple. Liam looked at her, confused. The chocolate, she said, and almost smiled. It carried something rare, earth emotion. To you it was a snack, she said gently. To me, it was the code to remember. Liam blinked. So, I woke you up with candy. She tilted her head. You woke me up with kindness. Suddenly, the light in the chamber turned red. Warning symbols flashed on the walls. The enemy had broken through the outer tunnels. Time was running out. Star turned back to the console and pressed both hands against it. Her armor lit up, and the floor beneath them shifted, lowering them into a deeper layer of the complex. The space they entered was colder, darker, but alive with energy. Rows of strange machines stood like statues, silent but ready. These are the ancients, she said. Machines my people left behind, sleeping, waiting, and now they wake. For me, one of the machines stepped forward, its body shaped like a giant knight. Glowing softly, it knelt in front of her, its chest opening to reveal a small seat. She turned to Liam. You can command one. Me? he said, stepping back. "I'm just a cargo pilot." "You are more than that now," she said. "The machines respond to loyalty, not blood. You gave without asking, protected without knowing. They will trust you." Liam looked at the machine, then at her. He didn't feel like a hero, not even close, but he stepped forward, and as his hand touched the machine's control, it opened fully and let him inside. The chamber shook again, this time from above. The enemy had reached the gates, but now they weren't alone. Across the chamber, more machines awakened, one by one, answering Star's call. Some had wings, others claws. All were ancient and beautiful. Star climbed into the largest one, shaped like a phoenix with eyes of fire. As she connected, her voice echoed through the chamber, not from her mouth, but through every wall. "We rise," she said, "not for revenge, but for truth." Liam felt the machine move with him, not like a vehicle, but like a partner. He looked at the stars through the open ceiling and saw the enemy fleet circling like vultures. The war they feared had begun, but it would not go the way they expected, because the last princess of a lost empire had awakened, and by her side stood a human who had shared his last chocolate bar. The sky burned above the desert as the first wave of enemy ships descended. Engines roared like thunder, shadows covered the sand, and the wind turned sharp with heat and fear. Liam stood inside his ancient machine, armor wrapped around him like second skin. He could feel its thoughts, its breath, its focus. Beside him, Star floated above her phoenix-shaped warform, her armor glowing like fire, her eyes lit with light older than the stars. The machines of the ancients stood in perfect rows, waiting for her signal, not just weapons. These were protectors, builders, guardians of peace that had been forced into sleep for centuries. Now they were awake. Now they remembered their queen. From above, the enemy ships began to open their bays. Creatures with metal limbs and black suits dropped from the sky. Thousands of them, maybe more. They didn't care who Star was. They only feared what she could become. Liam tightened his grip on the control handles, heart pounding. He was just a man who once flew cargo through lonely star systems, but now he was standing beside the most powerful being in the galaxy. And somehow that felt right. Star raised her hand. The machines behind her roared to life, light surging through their limbs, symbols flashing across their bodies like ancient war drums. The enemy touched down on the sand, spreading like dark oil. But they were too late. Star's voice echoed through the air, not from her mouth, but from every stone, every cloud, every corner of the sky. "I remember," she said. "I forgive nothing, but I offer a new path." The enemy charged anyway, metal weapons raised high. Liam felt the heat rush through him as his machine leapt into the air. Following Star's lead, they collided in midderlight against shadow, memory against destruction. The battle didn't last hours, it lasted moments. Because power, when fully awakened, doesn't need time, it only needs purpose. Star's machine tore through the enemy lines like a storm. Liam fought beside her, his hands moving faster than thought, his machine flowing like it knew his heart. The sand turned to glass where their weapons clashed, and then quiet, smoke drifted through the air. Broken machines lay still. The sky cleared. Liam stood in silence, his machine battered but still alive. He looked around, searching. Then he saw her. Star stood at the center of the battlefield, calm, whole, shining like a sunrise. He walked to her, slow at first, then faster. They faced each other as the dust faded behind them. No more war, no more running. She reached into a small side pocket of her armor and pulled something out, wrapped in a silver earth wrapper, slightly bent, but still sealed. A chocolate bar, the last one. Liam blinked, then smiled slowly. "You saved that?" he asked. She nodded, then opened it carefully, breaking it in half. This time, she gave the bigger piece to him. "For peace," she said softly. Then she added something else, her voice almost a whisper. "For equals." They sat down together. On the warm sand, machines still glowing behind them, stars watching from above. The war was over, but something far greater had begun. A human with an empty ship and a full heart. An alien girl who had once forgotten her name, and a galaxy ready to listen, and all of it began because he had shared his last chocolate bar.